Welcome to episode 9 of Our College, Your Voices. I am your host, Kara Monroe. We are entering final exam period for second 8-week classes and our 16-week courses, so we thought it was only fitting that we spend a little time on the podcast evaluating where we have been so far and where we're going. I am joined today by my trusty partner in this podcasting adventure, Ann Penny Valentine. Hey, Ann.
Hello.
And I can't remember which one of us said to the other one first back in the spring, how about a podcast? So what appealed to you about adding this project to our not less than full plates?
For me, it's a whole new way to communicate your priorities and goals as provost. It was exciting to me, first of all, that you're going to be our new provost, but also something that you and I love talking about, our podcast that we listen to because we are in our cars a lot. And so to think that we could do it, like that, here's this thing we listen to. I mean, probably not Oprah's masterclass level yet.
Probably not yet.
But that this is something that we listen to and that we could produce it and get it done. And it just was exciting to me. And especially as a way to sort of, for you to set the stage for what you were going to do as provost. I thought it was a great way to support you and to explore something that I was enjoying as a listener.
Well, thanks.
So what are your goals for the podcast?
It's funny because as I was thinking about this last night, as we were starting to prepare to record, I forget about it as a platform for communicating as the provost. But it is. I mean, it is one of those things that I come into people's ears almost, we will be once a week now here in December.
Hard to believe.
It is hard to believe. But I think it's the importance of the intentionality around that set of goals that's been really important to me. The first thing we've tried to do is to create and strengthen a sense of community. We do a ton of sharing of information in the college. We don't always publicize the discussion of the information. And so I wanted to create a safe space where people can come and discuss. And we haven't gotten into a lot of territory where we've gotten dissenting opinions, but a little bit. And I want folks to know that we don't edit that stuff out. I mean, we edit a lot because we make some flubs.
And motorcycles
that run by. Yeah, but we don't edit any of that sort of thing. The second thing that has come into focus for me is that we're creating content that's really valuable for our community. When we look at the statistics for the episodes, the transfer episode was our first episode, but it's also linked on our transfer website, and it's got a lot more traffic than many of our other episodes. I am not holding on to the fact that it was just our first episode and then people stopped listening. I'm really banking on the fact that it's because it's on that website. We're going to test that theory, I think, with some more of our content. But I do really want to encourage dialogue in our community, but also create content that people can use in other ways. And then finally, as provost, it's important to me that people get to know who I am. And so I try to be as authentic and real as I can on this podcast. You know well that I'm a pretty weird nerd. So I try to let that come through
in a beautiful way.
In a beautiful way. That's right. I love it and I own it. But I want people to know that I'm someone you can come to with any idea and you can share with me and that I'm here to listen to.
Well, and I think that the intention that you're the host and not a lecture,
right?
That it's not the provost podcast lecture,
right?
Makes an enormous difference to meet those goals and to make sure that it is a conversation. And I think folks appreciate that. What have you learned from making the podcast?
Well, people do actually listen. I was a little surprised by that because most podcasts die within about 6 episodes, and we've kept going. We'll have 14 episodes by the end of the calendar year. We've had nearly 4,000 downloads so far, and it's coming up now in unusual places. It's come up on the Provost Listening Tour a little bit this fall, but I've also been in interviews with candidates from outside the college who have listened as a way to learn about Ivy Tech, and I am thrilled that that is one of the ways they're engaging with us and learning about the college. The other thing I've learned is it is a lot harder to make a podcast than I thought it would be. We just recorded, we record these all in one day. So as we're building out, and we had a little time screw up today and some other things.
Because in fact, you are human.
We are.
As am I.
We are all human. And it has been a little challenging to get people to say yes to come on the show. As relaxed and as chill as it actually is to do, I think it makes people a little bit nervous. Jen makes us sound, we credit Jen Eads from Brassy Broadcasting at the end of every episode with the work that she does. She edits out all of the verbal silliness that happens in the room and helps us with that. But it's a little hard to get folks to come on the show. So this open invitation, if you want to come on the show, we will find a place for you. We would love to do that. And the other thing I've learned is, and you and I talk about this a lot, that I'm an introvert. And so I have to bring a ton of energy onto the show or else it doesn't sound very fun and exciting. And so just making sure that when I come in the room and I'm doing a podcast day, that my energy level's up and I'm ready for that. And it's fun and creative, so it's easy. But, we've had a couple episodes where you and I both looked at each other and went, not so much.
Yeah. And it's important. I mean, I like that you recognize that and that you're open to my
absolutely
suggestion that
yes.
that was a low energy kind of day. What have we messed up besides some of the bloopers that Jen has fixed?
Jen is someday going to actually release a reel of bloopers on us because she can do that without us knowing. I think she owns the feed. She does take care of a lot of it in editing. With recording it all on one day, we do mix up a few details, not only the time, but I think we told people for 3 months that we were going to have the virtual updates in the feed. They finally are coming to you in December. So we really mean it this time, but just trying to get all the timing and all those details right. And behind the scenes, just booking the guests and getting the episode guides distributed that we use. We don't script anything, but we do use sort of a question guide to help folks. And then our episode release schedule is way too complicated. It's something only a math major would have come up with. And so I totally own that it was way too complex. And so we're gonna fix that in 2019.
So speaking of fixing in 2019, what else is coming up? So tell us a little bit more about fixing the schedule and then what other things.
I can't even actually explain to you in less than 2 paragraphs what our current episode release schedule is. So we're going to go to something really simple in 2019. We are going to release every Thursday, and that will be our schedule. We might even come to you with some bonus content on other days, but every Thursday you should expect a new episode of
Which
our
is
College
what
of Voices.
Those that we listen to, those podcasts we follow,
that's what they do.
To follow a standard like that.
Yes,
so,
just like your favorite TV show, your favorite. It makes way more sense than what that crazy thing was I came up with. So our last episode of 2008 is on our regular schedule is going to be an interview with President.
You mean
Alston.
2018?
I do. What did I say?
2008.
Yeah, just leave that in, Jen. We're going to go right through that. So our last 2018 episode will be on a regular schedule. It's an interview with President Ellspermann. It's going to release on December 29th. And then our first 2019 episode will release on January 3rd of 2019.
What are some other things you want to help some planning with, perhaps, for next year?
Thanks, Ann. So we've launched on our website a listener survey and a non-listener survey. So even if you don't listen to the podcast, we want to hear your thoughts on it because if you're not listening, we want you to. So if you listen and you know people don't, we need you to help them get that, and we'll put it out through all sorts of other channels as well. And a couple of things we're thinking about for the rest of season 1, maybe even into season 2, is starting a book club.
Tell me a little bit more about that because you tweeted, I think, about it and may have posted on Facebook. And I was like, I love this idea, but are we talking fiction, nonfiction, things that specific to Ivy Tech? What are you really thinking?
I'm thinking probably nonfiction, although I'm open to anything. I want to sort of see what our community does. And I know Leanne Reckton in our Lawrenceburg campus, they have a Circle of Ivy grant for women in words about looking at, and they're doing both fiction and nonfiction. So Leanne actually mentioned that. And I've gotten a lot of feedback that, maybe we could do an Ivy Learn group and then we have a discussion that we do by phone that we could record and broadcast out. So it's just a harebrained idea at the moment, but hopefully we can make it a little more concrete before 2019 starts and maybe launch it in January.
What I like about it is some of my favorite episodes we've done so far are those where guests are interacting with each other.
Agreed.
Where it just becomes a natural conversation. Right. And I think the book club would lend itself to that.
Agreed. And we're also, for 2019, we're also inviting anyone who wants to plan an episode to do so. I'm going to tweet out an episode guide template. It's the entirety of the script we use. It just has about 8 questions in it, a little intro, and our end credits. And we invite anyone in our community to put together an episode. And we've got a link to our working episode schedule on our website. I think the most important thing to know is things do sort of change and shift around a little bit, but we want to try to fit in any episode that folks want to do.
I think that's great because we've been asking for suggestions and we've gotten good suggestions, but especially having the non-listeners fill out a survey or have someone help plan us an episode because we only know what we know.
Right.
And we want to make sure that we're covering a lot of perspectives and a number of topics that you've covered more than once. It's an effort to try and get more voices involved. And so kudos to think of some other ways to get more voices involved, which I think will be great for everyone. Talk about the Student Success Summit.
Yeah.
What do you have planned for that?
I think this was me texting you the day the Student Success Summit proposals were due and saying, hey, what about something about the podcast at the Student Success Summit? So by text message with a few screenshots, we sort of co-wrote a summit proposal. So we are going to have our first ever listener meetup at the 2019 Student Success Summit in French Lick. Obviously, for those who are inside of Ivy Tech, you know that that's open to about 600 people inside of the college. Each campus gets an allotment of spaces to choose. And you and I are going to be there. We'll have a spot sometime on Friday morning. We don't know when yet, but as soon as we know, we'll share it.
I got to play well on Thursday night.
Yes.
Is what you're telling me.
Yes. We can't party too late on Thursday night, as sometimes happens at the summit. And we're going to engage our listeners in planning season 2. And this is my vision, and our vision, I think, is a sort of an unsession, a lot of individual comments, and we'll have the little handy recorder that we're gonna debut some content with it a little later this month out to get people's perspectives and voices on the show. But we really do want the podcast to be our college and everyone's voices. That's been a really important thing for us.
We want to, I think you share this goal too. We want to get students more.
Absolutely.
Anytime we can get students involved in the podcast, it's great.
Yep.
That transfer one had a student there, which just made it for a really great discussion. So.
And I can't wait till our listeners hear a little later this month, our ASAP Student Leadership Summit episode. I've listened to the audio from it several times, and our students they're incredible. So our call to action for you today, check out our website and take the survey. Tell your friends to take the survey, even if they don't listen. And if they don't listen, and show them how to subscribe, because Ann and I talk a lot about how folks just don't know how to subscribe and they don't know how to ask for that help. So just offer. Thank you for joining episode 9 of Our College, Your Voices. We appreciate you coming on this journey with us. Thanks for the support, and we look forward to continuing the journey through the rest of 2018 and beyond. I am your host, Kara Monroe. You can connect with me on Twitter at KNM Tweets.
I'm the producer, Ann Penny Valentine. I'm on Twitter at Indy Penny, INDYPENNY. Reach us by email at ourcollegeyourvoices@ivytech.edu, our website, ivytech.edu/podcast. It's maintained by Tracy Allen.
Production assistance for this and every episode are provided by Becky Campbell, Sarah DeWitt, and the Ivy Tech Community College marketing team. Our podcast concept is by Matthew Pittman. And our theme music, recording, and post-production services are provided by Jen Eads, who's also a master editor from the Brassy Broadcasting Company. Jen, thank you so much. We couldn't do it without you. And we will see you next time on Our College, Your Voices.